The fallout from the move to expand Medicaid.
From the Battelle studio at WOSU at COSI, this is Columbus on the Record. Joining Mike Thompson this week, Jackie Borchard, State House reporter for the Dayton Daily News, Joe Ingles, State House reporter for Ohio Public Radio, Sam Gresham of Common Cause Ohio, and Mark Weaver, Republican strategist.
As it stands now, a major component of President Obama's health care law will be implemented in Ohio, and it was an Obamacare opponent who made it happen. It took him nearly a year, but Governor John Kasich made good on his promise to extend Medicaid to 275,000 Ohioans. He went around the full legislature using the controlling board, which okayed the expansion this week. The move brought immediate criticism from the governor's right. Lawmakers and a Tea Party group filed suit to stop it. Jackie Borchard, we'll get to the politics in a moment, but what does this mean for health care in Ohio?
Well, the Affordable Care Act was designed to provide affordable health care options for everyone. And part of that is this new health insurance exchange where anyone can go on, and if their employer does not provide insurance or they're looking for a cheaper option than what they already have, they can go on and buy insurance. And the government has also provided subsidies for many people shopping on the exchange. What happened is, built into that plan was to expand that every state would expand Medicaid up to 138% of poverty. And those people then would be covered under Medicaid. The assumption was they did not make enough money to qualify for subsidies and therefore buy insurance on the exchange. And
these are individuals making about $16,000 a year are now eligible for Medicaid. Family of four, about $32,000 a year. So it gets those people who are kind of in that gap.
Right. And then when the Supreme Court last year said, well, you can't make the states expand, then what happened is it created this coverage gap where those folks don't have an affordable option.
Means the hospitals say fewer charity cases, free care at hospitals. That's why they were in favor of it.
But it's also important for that reason, the DISP funds, which are disproportionate funds, are consistently reducing. I have to give the governor credit for this. He saw the humanity in it, and he took and has taken a large political risk within his own party to do it. And I have to give the speaker credit. The speaker aided and abetted this process by specifically putting people on the controlling committee to make. So I have to give him credit. I've opposed them and things they've done before philosophically, but I support this. And I say kudos to the governor and kudos to the speaker.
Well, several other things were happening in the background. You have the Hospital Association and hospitals all around the state, which have significant grassroots support, pressuring the legislature to make this happen. Had a couple pros at the top, John Allison, Scott Borgominki, real seasoned operators helping move this. And this probably would have gone to the ballot, but for the fact that it got done through the controlling board, and that was a pressure point as well.
But there's a legal question, Joe. That's what the lawsuit is saying, that the controlling board, they cannot do what the legislature did not intend to do.
Yeah, but there's a problem with that. If you read the budget bill, there's legislation, there's language in there supporting it, so the people who are opposing it obviously didn't read the budget
But
bill.
this is going to the courts, right, Joe?
Well, it's going to the Ohio Supreme Court. That's where it's been filed, and the people who filed it are hoping that something will happen between now and the first of the year when it's actually implemented. But going back to the ballot, I'm not so convinced that it won't go to the ballot, because the people who are trying to put it on the ballot say they're still trying to put it on the ballot. You've got to remember, the way this is done, it's not a permanent solution. This is essentially an executive order kind of thing where when Governor Kasich leaves, it's all up in arms again.
Well, technically, the controlling board did not approve expansion of Medicaid.
Right.
They approved a request to release federal money for 2 years.
Yes, exactly.
So Mark, how many enemies did the governor make with this, and how many friends did he make with this?
Probably is a wash. Certainly on the right, there's a guilt by association going on here. Obamacare, very unpopular on the right. Medicaid expansion was seen as a kissing cousin to Obamacare. So as a result, a lot of grassroots conservatives and Tea Party folks against it. But amongst independents and certainly amongst Democrats, it's probably got some strength. So I don't know that John Kasich is going to have a primary. I'd be surprised if he did. Probably has a net plus for him in the general.
Do Tea Party folks stay home? They say they're going to stay home because of this, but when push comes to shove, it's a year from now, memories fade.
I think that's bluster and that's just talk. I think when it gets down to it, I don't think it's I don't think it's significant enough. Maybe you can tell me enough for them to sit on their hands.
Well, activated voters tend not to stay home. People who are angry and care about public affairs, they want to get at the ballot. They'll run through fire to get to the... Now, whether they vote or not in that race, or whether they have other alternatives, such as a third-party candidate, that's something that governor's
You
folks
really
have
think
to
that's a
look at.
possibility?
Well, there's a fellow out there talking about running for Libertarian. We'll see whether he gets on the ballot, but we may have a third-party
Didn't
candidate.
Sykes take care of that?
Yeah, well, I know he's working on it.
The legislature is trying to make it tougher for third-party
Right.
candidates to get on the ballot, and
Right.
that's in the process of
And
going.
the other thing is that still, at the end of the day, even when you look at the third-party candidates, when push comes to shove, you find a lot of these conservatives who say, oh, I'm going to go out there and vote for the third party. They don't do it.
Medicaid is still more than half of the budget. There are bills out there, Jackie, to try to reform it. Is that reform effort dead because of this controlling board action, or is that going to gain steam because
if
of this?
anything, yeah, it's more alive now that I talked to a couple lawmakers who said, once we get the expansion issue off the table, then we can finally get down to the work of making this program more efficient and have some more cost savings and make it more sustainable for the future. And for a lot of people, that the Medicaid to expand or not was really overshadowing the greater need to put some constraints on spending.
But that was also the hammer to try to force the reforms. But the hammer gone, is it likely to get the reforms now that there's no real incentive for Democrats to compromise?
No, I don't see any. But the ballot issue is tantalizing. They'll make it permanent, not a 24-month period, right?
Right. They want to make it permanent.
That may
So,
be a better
you
deal.
know, and here's the other thing, though. I think, you could possibly get Medicaid reform through the legislature without even having help from the Democrats. But if you look at the long-term, the situation of this 4 or 5 years down the line, and if you look at re-election possibilities, I think that there is likely to be some compromise. You don't want to ram this through with all one party backing it.
All right. Ohioans looking to sign up for health insurance through that federal exchange program remain frustrated. Technical problems continue to plague the rollout of the key component of the new health care law. We hear story after story of people being unable to log on, getting kicked off, insurance companies getting incorrect information. Republicans say the problems beg for a one-year delay in the law. The White House admits these are more than glitches, and it says tech experts are working to fix the problems.
Obviously, tests were done, and what we learned upon launch is that the problems with the site were greater than we expected and anticipated, significantly, and that significant work needed to be done to fix those problems, and that's what's happening.
Joe Ingles, Ohioans are no different. They're trying to register for this. We see posts on Facebook, people having trouble getting on and logging onto this site.
We're hearing two stories. We're hearing people who say, hey, I just got my health care, I signed up for it, I'm really happy about it. We're hearing people who say they're, complaining that they can't get on it. It's still relatively early. You've got to remember that in order to get the health care in place and be able to use it on January 1st, you have until December 15th to sign up. So, and you even have longer to sign up. It just wouldn't be in place for January 1st. And so we're seeing people who are coming out and they're looking at it and they're kind of visiting, shopping, and then they're getting offline. They're not signing up at that point. With things the way they're going, trying to upgrade the website and make some changes along the way, it could be a month from now. That's a very different kind of situation.
This has been a colossal disaster for the Obama administration during the government shutdown, which the Democrats attempted to blame on the Republicans. A lot of Democrat operatives were saying, man, aren't we glad this happened because the Republicans would have been hitting us on Obamacare rollout, and now that's behind us. Well, this past week shows us it was not behind them. And in fact, it's been the number one story in the
Wouldn't you
country
have liked
this
to have
week.
been talking about it for the past month instead of the past 2 weeks?
Well, I'd like to be talking about Obamacare every day if we could. And this coming week, Kathleen Sebelius will have to come to Capitol Hill and answer a question to people who, by the way, this week she said she doesn't work for. Last I checked, she works for All Americans, and the Congress oversees her budget.
This is the best thing that could have happened from my perspective. I know you say it's the worst thing that could have happened, but I think it's the best thing.
For who?
For the Democrats and people who want Obamacare. Your party stretched it out and made it Obamacare and no longer made it ACA. I think this disaster will end up with the best system you've ever had. And I'll call it a disaster, and they should be sane. But my thought is, I'm a marketer. If I'm on top of mind and on your lips, I'm okay.
So no such thing as bad publicity?
No such thing
even
as
even in politics?
No, even in
Bad press is good press.
Yeah, you know what? 6 months from now, a year from now, nobody will be thinking like, just, all these things happen when Social Security started, when Medicaid started, all these things happen. And look at it now. The Americans say, don't take my Medicaid away from me,
Oh, no,
whichever.
that part's true. Once people get free stuff, they want to keep getting free stuff. But the party of the ant will eventually get tired of paying for the party of the grasshopper in the old fable of the
No, it'll just
grasshopper and
be
the
more.
ant.
There is, of course, Republicans want to delay the individual mandate push and the requirement that everybody buy health insurance by another year, like businesses got it. So doesn't this add fuel to that to extend it another year?
What's interesting, the Republican position during the shutdown was, we'll pass the entire federal budget if you simply delay the individual mandate a year, and that was called by Democrats a terrible extreme position. This week we saw red state Democrats taking that same terrible extreme position, and by next week's episode of Columbus on the Record, there'll be more Democrats on board, and then the president will eventually have
The
to
past
join
history
them.
doesn't support that. Through the whole shutdown, the Democrats held together. And I think they're going to hold together on this because I think any stoppage of this program is a political failure. So the Democrats have to move forward.
Jackie, there's a lot of talk about this, but really there are a relative few people, looking at the population as a
Right.
whole, relatively a few people that are going to use these exchanges, because most of us get our insurance through our employer. So these are the
Right.
folks who are self-employed, looking for a better deal.
Right, and that's the day that the exchanges came online, they had 4 or 5 times the number of people try and log on who are even they think eligible to buy through the exchanges. And my mom said the next day, like, maybe if all the journalists stopped trying to log in and see what it looked like,
Blame
then
the media.
the real people could get on and right and
Mom
have a
doesn't think
chance.
reporters are real people. That's the story.
Right.
Blame the media.
Looking at this whole situation, though, you're talking about the ramifications if you don't sign up. I mean, that's a very small amount that you have to pay in a fine.
$95 for the
yeah,
first year. It goes up, but it's $95 the first year.
A lot of people go out and spend more for a football ticket or something else than they would for the fine for not being in Obamacare or in the Affordable Care Act, whichever
Can
word
I
we're
add
using
to
for
that,
that.
though? Two things they need to know. It closes on the 31st of March. So outside of that, you can't get it again. The second thing is the DIS money. Disproportional indigent money is being reduced each year. So now, if you're on a motorcycle and you're 22 years old and you don't have any insurance, they take you to the hospital, they stabilize you, and they ship you out the door. It's not like it used to be. It's called the C-cup money or the H-cup money. It doesn't exist anymore. Now, there will be a philosophical problems. What do hospitals do when that money goes away?
Well, and your problem is that 22-year-old, then you need to convince him to sign up for insurance, and that's a big problem right now. They want young, healthy people to sign up to balance out the pool, and if it doesn't work and it's buggy, and people don't want to use it.
That's why the ads show all these folks getting hurt playing basketball or, riding their motorcycles or whatever. All right, our next topic. Opponents and skeptics of the Columbus school levy have been calling on officials to reform the schools first, then ask for more money. Well, this week, the Columbus School Board implemented some reforms. In an emergency session 2 weeks before Election Day, the board laid out a step-by-step process for principals to use when determining whether a student has withdrawn from school. The data rigging investigation indicates many students were improperly withdrawn, and then the schools didn't have to count their low test scores, and that raised the school's overall grade. Sam Gresham, you're a skeptic. I'll put you in the skeptic category of this levy. Is this enough to satisfy you, this reform package passed by the board?
It's a little bit too late to do anything. I think the culture in which this legislation or this package was put together is what defines it. The people didn't ask for this. Corporations pushed it upon them. And then they intimidated the school board, coerced them to go along with it. And obviously in today's paper, not many individual people gave money, all the corporations. And the first time the Wolves gave $250,000 to a program. Mindless. Who is that? I think the components of it don't work. It doesn't deal with the central question, which is people of poverty in the school system. It talks about high performance. Measure that. You're going to do this. Measure that. You're going to do this. Measure that. And then cheaters versus charters, that's an opponent group. People don't want to give money to charter schools.
But the supporters say that this money, they raised raised and spent $2.2 million so far in the campaign. It shows that the business community is united in support of the schools. This is unprecedented. They know they need to come together and support the schools.
My radical days tells me that doesn't pass the smell test. I mean, if they put that much money behind it, I'm not sure if I want to support it. There are issues with our schools, and God knows I'm a supporter and I'm a critic. But I don't think this is the package that's going to support it. It's going to improve the schools.
Normally, in a levy, the test is if there's organized opposition, it's very difficult to pass a levy. I would not call the opposition in this case organized, but I would say that Columbus voters have been reading for months of the corruption, criminality, and incompetence in the Columbus schools. And the question is whether this gold-plated campaign that the mayor has ably led is enough to overcome true, genuine anger by the residents of Columbus at the actions of this school district.
And they're doing the math. They're seeing what this is going to cost them on their property taxes. Where, the income tax passed in 2009, it went from 2% to 2.5%. So it was hard to see the cost. I mean, if you made a lot of money, you saw it in your paycheck perhaps, but when you see that tax bill going up by $300 for every $100,000 of value, you can do that math.
And you had the state subsidy before that cut the cost a little bit on it. I think it's going to be interesting.
The ironies of a tax levy during the Obama economy. Won't this be fun to watch?
Mark, it was okay until you said that. I agree with you up to that point.
Statewide implications, this did take a change in state law to allow the charter money to come from the levy money to be used for charters. This is kind of a test case in some ways, would you say, for statewide?
It's following what Cleveland has to do as well, and they're not, into that plan. So it's still too soon for Columbus voters to look to Cleveland for some sort of idea of what this could be.
And that's really the bright spot of this plan, is the fact that many school districts recognize that charter schools, which are public schools, are competition, and they're starting their own, and that gives parents more choice. And when parents have more choices, things are better in education.
So how does that play in this campaign? Because you have the teachers and the supporters of teachers and unions traditionally, even though the union head supports it in this case, they don't want it because it's got money for charters. But you have folks who live in tough neighborhoods, go to tough schools, they want that money in charters, so who wins that campaign?
These are cross pressures. I mean, I think if the charter issue stood alone, it might have a chance of passing, but it's mixed in with the other things. And the teachers are cross pressured as well. Right. Unionized teachers don't like charter schools, even though they're public schools and good competition, but they also need money for the school district to survive. So I feel teachers are going to feel that cross pressure.
Well, there are 15,000 students in Columbus public school systems who are in charter schools, and another 48,000 who are in the traditional schools. That's a lot of money that goes out. It's $5,000 each student's approximately 70.
State money goes, local money stays.
It's a lot of money.
Every time the Columbus Schools goes back to voters and asks them for money, though, the line has been, okay, we know we're not doing a great job here and here and here, but we're going to do better. If you just pass this, give us the money, we're going to do better. This is yet another time. Now, this is a much more comprehensive plan, but this is another time that they're going to voters and saying, hey, we're not doing so well, give us some money.
But the plan, if you look at the details, is kind of soft. It's very aspirational. There's no real measurements. We're going to have A and B schools in 6 years.
Right. What is that?
But what happens if you don't?
Right.
I mean,
and what is a high-performing school?
Yeah.
What is that? They don't have that. The one thing that schools engender in the political spectrum, they have trust. When the levy passes, it's because people trust the people in place. And Jean Harris coming on saying, I want to do this, and her reputation stands for a lot. You don't have that person.
You got Urban Meyer. You've got the mayor who's very...
Those people don't know those people. They don't see them every day.
Urban Meyer, Ted Strickland. You don't have Gordon Gee this time. You had Gordon Gee last time.
And they are images. Everyday person coming on the camera who runs the school system. And in the end, they put Jean Harris in flames, but when she came in, she was rescuing the school system, and everybody supported her. School systems levies are about trust, and if there's no trust, you have, and modicum of opposition, then you have problems.
Would this levy have I'm not saying it's going to fail, but would it have a better chance of passage if the mayor had taken over the schools, which he said he never wanted to do?
I think that was the worst thing he could have done, because that doesn't work in Columbus.
But that's real quote, reform.
But it's a different issue altogether. How schools are controlled goes back over a long time in Ohio, and it would have raised a whole different level of opposition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sovereignty.
All right, our next topic. In a deadly drunk driving case that attracted national attention, Matthew Cordell received his sentence this week. A judge sentenced the Powell man to 6.5 years in prison. Matthew Cordell rose to prominence when he made a YouTube video confessing to being drunk when he drove the wrong way on I-670 in June. The crash killed 61-year-old Vincent Canzani. His family asked for the maximum of 8 years in prison. Cordell says he is ready to do the time.
As I said in the courtroom, there is really no fair sentence when it comes to the loss of life. It's just time, and time won't bring back the victim, unfortunately. So, you know, I'm just glad that the family can have some measure of closure, and I hope that they find peace throughout this.
Mark Weaver, he said there is no fair sentence when it comes to the loss of life. Is he correct?
Well, yes, we can never bring back that life. This has been a fascinating case for me. You know, as a prosecutor, I've prosecuted criminals like this guy, and as a magistrate, I've sentenced hundreds of drunk drivers to jail. And now in my law school class at Ohio State, we're talking about how media interacts with the legal system. And this case is Exhibit A. And this gentleman fought against his own narrative early on, because in his YouTube video he said, I'm going to take full responsibility. I'm going to go in there and say, I'm guilty. And of course, at his first appearance, when they pulled a judge by random who's known for tough sentencing, they were backpedaling and saying, well, now we're pleading not guilty. And a lot of people weren't sure about that. But having said that, this is a classic example of how social media can impact what would otherwise be a garden variety felony case down at the courthouse.
So 6.5 years, first-time offender, apparently, no criminal record, homicide, though, motor vehicle homicide. Is that a fair sentence, a standard sentence for this type of case?
I think it is. I'm not surprised by this sentence. I think he's taking the sentence with grace, and I think what's unique about what he did here is when he gets out, and he's a young man, he's got a lot of his life ahead of him. When he gets out, when he has to report to an employer that he's been convicted of something, he'll have the video evidence to say, here's how I took responsibility for it.
Mark. Now, do you think the confession helped him, hurt him, didn't have any?
I think Mark's onto something. The introduction of the media and through YouTube and doing it this way, I think it cut it a little bit. It wasn't as raw because he fessed up. And how he fessed up, I think it had an effect, and the impact on that. Now, does it set a precedent for future cases?
That CNN clip, that was a live interview. He did live interviews with CNN and at least one other broadcast
Well, the Dispatch
network.
did something as well in video and put it up. Randy Ludlow talked to him.
I felt that I was a little uncomfortable watching this guy who just got sentenced for killing another human being, doing live interviews on CNN the next morning.
Well, one of the problems in our system is every day in American courts there are terrible people who are sentenced for terrible things, but only once in a while does the media sort of pay attention, depending on who the victim is or the circumstance of how it happened. And so we get random little peeks into what's happening every day in America, and this was our peek on a drunk driver killing somebody.
And if you look at drunk driving and homicide, a lot of the cases, you know, they can get 6, 8, up to 8 years. But then you look at some cases and they get a very short period of time. So there's a whole lot of leeway in there. And I think people are going to be looking at how this video confession, did it actually maybe add some time onto it?
Is 8.5 years for killing another person, granted in a drunk driving accident, the same? Is that enough?
I mean, if it's your family, heck no, it's not enough.
You know, we have a serious problem with drunk driving. We
Yes,
really
we do.
Because if you go and, you know, you go to a party and you see friends that you think, oh, they shouldn't be driving, chances are they're going to think they should be driving, whether they shouldn't or should. And, you know, I think we have a real problem because people don't know when to say, I've had too much.
True.
Especially when they're drinking. And that leads, you know, you might have someone who's a really good person otherwise, and they make a really bad choice.
But if you're in a bar and you have a knife and you drink too much, you get into a fight, you stab somebody, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, that sentence is much greater than if you get in a car drunk and kill somebody.
It's true. There's a difference between purposeful actions, reckless, and negligent. But we all know now how dangerous drunk driving is. As a magistrate, when I sentence a drunk driver, I will often say to him or her that what you did here is the most dangerous thing you've ever done in your life. You were a foot away from killing someone in the other lane, and you're just lucky, or by God's grace, it didn't happen.
All right. Let's get to our final off-the-record parting shots for the week, and we'll start with you, Mark.
There was an interesting moment in Washington last week during the shutdown. Ohio Congressman Brad Wenstrup took the rostrum. He was a combat surgeon in Iraq, and he got up and made a plea to both parties. Let's not use the language of terrorism and war and hostage-taking to call each other names when we disagree politically. Both parties took notice, a bright spot for Ohio Congressman.
All right. Sam.
I think the idea of what's happening in the General Assembly has established a precedent, and we so see it used again in the Comptrolling Board. And the notoriety only helps that.
All right. Joe Ingles?
I think that the whole debate over the Affordable Care Act is just going to heat up. It's not going to go away. It's going to heat up, and it's going to come to a head next fall when people are thinking about elections.
And Jackie?
I'm going to piggyback on Sam's comment and say I think lawmakers are going to fix that and make it a little bit harder for the controlling board to make such a big decision in the future.
All right. I had a sports prediction go right last week. I think it might be the first time on this show. And the Red Sox beat the Tigers last week in the American League Championship Series and are in the World Series. My prediction now is that they'll continue on and they will win the World Series. So I want to continue my winning streak for another week, one more week. That is Columbus on the Record for this week. Check us out online. Continue the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter. Check out video from each show at our website at wosu.org, including an interview we did a couple weeks ago with the mayor and the superintendent on the school levy, which answers a lot of questions about that tax issue that's coming before voters. So, for our crew and for our panel here at WOSU at COSI, I'm Mike Thompson. Have a good week.